Hi friends, today we are going to continue the use callback hook. First I am opening my code editor. In this I have written my example called use callback example. In this I have taken some components like header component and select user component. This is a like a select box and one more is a counter component. In the select user component, I have taken the select options. Like if you select like how drop down box works, same like I have taken that select box, select the text box, and the counter is counter is like a increment counter. I have taken here one button. If you click on this increment button, this count part will be increased to 1. I have written functions also here. Uh, Handle increment and handle select and handle reset. Reset is the one button I have taken in this same component only. If you click on this reset button, it will reset the all the users. If you open the browser here, first re-render. If you refresh this web page, if you see here in the console tab, development tools, here three components are rendering. Like what that components and use callback header component, use select user component and counter component. Three components are rendered in that messages also you are seeing here console messaging. If you click on the here, what is the problem is that without using the use callback cookies, if you click on the any one of the in any one of here select if you click on the select in this if you change if you're trying to change this select user to one of these if you click on a manual see if you click on the one component in that component, not only that component, the other components also refreshing, other components also re-rendering. Due to this, performance will be degraded, performance will be reduced. If you want to increase this performance, like how only which component I'm going to change, that component only render, remaining components will be uh, uh, not going to render that components. But here we are going to use two things here. One is the use callback hook and one is the memo function. Memo is also a hook. First, we are going to see the memo. How using that memo we are going to control this type of things. In the header, in the header component, use callback header component. See, where I have written some concept here. Memo is a hook. It is also used for the performance reasons to improve the performance while re-rendering. While rendering, sorry, not rendering only, re-rendering or rendering. What is it that means? It wraps the component that you are trying to export header component. Actually, not only this header component, you can take the any component, export that header component. It intercepts the render of this component. It stops the render of the component. It will do first. It will check the first props are different from one render to another render. Actually, this component does not have the props not have the props it is not have the props, it will does not check, it will only renders the only one time only while first render only. In the remaining times it will not render. If it contains the props properties, it will render the only when props are changing, when props are changing to the one render to next render only. In that case only it will going to render this component. That's why I'm using the first I'm going to import the memo. How we are going to use memo import? Like same like how that React use state and use callback, use state and use effect. Like that we are going to same like import the memo as a named component and named import. We are going to wrap the memo in the use callback header. If you go to the index data, our main component, if you try to uh, save and execute once again refresh this. See, if you try to change this one, or if you try to increment this one, see, the still that header component is rendered only one time. Still, the header component is not rendered the other re-render times. Why? Because of I have used in the here memo as a memo as a function. I wrapped the memo as a to the component. Going to remove this one. But if you do this thing in all the components, it will change or not. We are going to see. You want to see select user also. Once again, refresh this. See, if you try to change one more, George, George is present, but user select user component and counter component is rendered. Due to this, in due to the memo function, we have reduced the one thing. We have reduced the uh, re-rendering of the address, but still that problem is occur with the counter and select user. How means how means here if you take the in the main example page in the use callback example, here function is there, two functions are there, handle select and handle increment. Consider these two functions only, not consider this one to make the you can leave it this one. Consider these two functions. For every re-render of the component, these two things, this handle re-render, this handle select and handle increment, these things will be create the new reference. Due to that new reference only, it is going to the in the component select user and this counter. It will go into here and it will go rendering that new re-rendering the this component re-rendering this component. But using the memo, we are going to restrict to the some extent of the props re-rendering. Props re-rendering from the one component to another component. But if we are going to stop that re-rendering of these functions also, like creation of the reference for the every re-rendering also. We are going to use the one more hook called use callback hook. Use callback hook. What is the syntax of the use callback hook means? See, use callback hook is a React hook that lets you catch a function definition between the re-renders. It is the definition, and if you see this use callback takes the two things. One is the function, another one is the dependencies. If you want to see this syntax of this, I think this one here or there. Syntax of this, just syntax of this handle submit syntax is the use callback taking the one function called order details. Yeah, like one function taking in this passing the order details. It is posting that some post like some post function is calling here with some data like product ID and reference and the order details. When this use callback will be here triggered, only the product ID and reference will be changed. In that case, only this use callback will be called. The use callback will be triggered. this handle submit will be triggered. We are going to use same here also. Use callback, and we are going to pass the dependency. First, we are going to see with empty dependencies here. Let's refresh this function and change the George. See, but that if you observe here, counter component is rendering. This component is rendering. This component is rendering, but this this select user component is not running. Why? Because of means it is freezing the this function in this use callback with empty dependencies is freezing the this function. If you want to see this in detail, console.log.see users of 0, or you can see the users also. If you see we are getting, if you take any one of these, actually it is the behavior is different, but it is getting the whole data. If you see here, only it will take the array of one element. Like if it if user equal to this text means it will go only get the only that text data we are passing into the here in the array format. It will only get the, actually this will give the output of only one data. Like if you if you select the ln means it will get the array of ln element only. Of if you select the Kevin means it will only get the Kevin only. But here it is changing whole. If you see here once again, if you select this, it will only getting the George only. But here if you see here, Kevin, Ellen, George, Norma, Manuel and Linton we are getting. But if you want to make that it will smoothly run. If you want to make this smoothly run, remove this one, or leave it this one, or use the, here you can use the dependency array. What dependency, what you are going to updating in this section, you can use that as a dependency array. Here using the set users as a function to update. Here you can use the users. If you once again refresh this, see George, Manuel, Linton. See here. First time you are getting the all the elements, but after changing here you got only George. After changing the George to Manuel, you got, see, select user or component also you are observing. Like same, like you have to apply the same concept for the counter component also. If you try to increase this, see, if you try to try to increasing this user select user component is not re-rendering. If you once again, I'm making refresh the web page once again. See, if you try to increase this, actually this is the button. If you want to see more clearly, go to the counterpart and give the some class called bg bg500 px4 and py2 rounded md. Make it as a 400. Click on this. Once again refresh this. If you click on here, we are only rendering this counter component only. It is not rendering the this select user component. Why? Because means we have used the here use component use callback function to the this handle selector. If you try to use this, for this also, if you want to change here George, here if you see, observe the here both this select user component also rendering, this counter component also rendering. Actually this is both are different. Both are different component, and both should not share any element, like should not share any data or state or props. If you have any sharing of this both components, it will maybe this counter component will be refresh or re-render the this counter component can be re-rendered, but it is not have it. This is a actually this component, this counter component is component is different, this component is different. The both are not have the any synchronization. But here it is rendering. But you want to reduce that. Here we are going to use the use callback for that same this function also. Here we are going to pass the count. If we pass without without count, see, see. If you see here, if you observe this, it is not incrementing only one time. If you increment one time, if you see here, it is working. It is working. Now we observe here only that select user component only rendering. That's why it is showing this message like this message is showing this counter component that previously we have seen this counter component message also seeing when selecting this. Um, After using the use callback to this handle increment also this component the counter component will not be rendering unnecessarily. If only changes will happen to this counter component only, this component will be rendered. See, I'm changing Kevin. I'm changing to Linton. See, this counter component is not changing. If you try to increase, it is not incrementing. Why? Because of here. If you use here also console.log of count, it is freezing this. If you want to see this here, same after also this element will be freezing. If you want to make it smoothly run or use this count, use the count as a dependency. In this, if you pass the dependency here, it will able to run that. Remove this one. Once again, just leave it with this debuggers and which try to change George, Ellen, Kevin, Manuel, and uh, Linton. I have changed here Linton. If you try to increment this, see, thing 4. Remove these things. This looks like ugly. Here also remove this one also. Okay, once again refresh the web page, and if you see this, if you try to change this, Ellen, George, and Manuel. Only this select user component only rendering. If you try to increment this 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5. I have rendered this 5 times, but see, only counter component only rendering. This remaining component is not rendering. We have achieved uh, some extent of the performance increase, but you have to learn more about this use callback hook. There is a usage also there here. Some skipping the re-rendering of the component. We have seen already this updating the state from a memoized callbacks and preventing effects from firing too often, optimizing a custom hooks. These things we are going to study. If you click on this one, it will comes to the again previous state like that. That's our friends. If you if you like my explanation and content, please like and subscribe my channel and support my channel.